welcome into McCormick Field here in Asheville, North Carolina. You are tuned into the latest edition of the RiverDogs Road Report. I'm Matt Dean here giving you the latest scoop, letting you check in with the Charleston RiverDogs in the midst of a week-long road trip about to finish up here in a Sunday afternoon in Asheville, North Carolina. A beautiful ballpark here, one of the really unique venues in all of minor league baseball, McCormick Field. You can see built right into the side of a mountain, some gorgeous views throughout the city, and maybe none better than here at McCormick Field, the home of the Asheville Tourists. The RiverDogs wrapping up a 4-game series against their divisional opponent here tonight. And on this edition of the RiverDogs Road Report, we will talk with a couple of members of the RiverDogs bullpen, Hobie Harris and Sean Carley. We'll check in with them on what exactly a RiverDogs player does with an off day. What do the RiverDogs bullpen pitchers do when they're sitting around and waiting out a rain delay, knowing they're not going to pitch that day maybe? What do those guys do for fun to keep themselves entertained? So we'll check in with a couple of the members of the RiverDogs bullpen. You can see this great facility here, McCormick Field, historic McCormick Field, which opened up in 1993, a very offensive-oriented ballpark. So not necessarily a pitcher's favorite place to go, but in my opinion, one of the great places here to take in a ball game in the South Atlantic League. I think second only to the Joe back in Charleston. So stay tuned for this edition of the RiverDogs Road Report. Again, we'll speak with Hobie Harris and Sean Carley coming up. You are tuned in to RiverDogs.com. All right, welcome back into this edition of the RiverDogs Road Report. I am joined by two members of the RiverDogs bullpen, Hobie Harris on your left, and then Sean Carley as well on the right. Thanks for joining me here in this edition, guys.
Thanks for pulling us out.
So we are here on the final day of what's been a long weekend here in Asheville. Rained out on Thursday. First, I want to talk about the game on Saturday night. Hobie, I know you had pitched the night before, I think 2 nights ago for you, so you guys pretty much knew you were getting up and loose in the bullpen at one point, but Hobie, you at that point probably knew that you were going to be a spectator for this whole game. So you're essentially, a fan just like me watching this. RiverDogs down 3, come back in the 9th inning. What are you thinking when, Hoy Jun Park comes up, homers, makes it a 2-run ball game?
Well, whenever Hoy comes up and gets into one like that, I felt like there was something that was going to get going a little bit. Obviously, being his first home run of the year, it was something special for him. Obviously, a good feeling. And in the bullpen, we have little, what'd you call them? Not tendencies, but little, I guess, superstitions, if you will, for lack of a better word. We'll start, rally turtle on the ground, or turn our hats backwards or something like that. We're trying to pull everything out of the books to see what we could do last night. And I don't know what worked, but something did. Luckily, Hoy with that hit sparked a little bit of a rally, and we were able to come out with a big W.
Yeah, it was definitely a big turning point. The crowd was pretty into it at that point. They got a 3-run lead, and Hoy gets into that one, and the whole place goes quiet. And that was really when we looked at ourselves like, hey man, we need to make sure that we're ready because we're about to tie this up. And sure enough, we had a couple big at bats there, and a couple of walks and a little bit of help from the umpire, of course, and that's obviously up for debate. But no, it was a fun game to be a part of, and obviously, I was in the point where I was getting loose down there too. But luckily, Garrett, found some deep will inside of him to get through that inning for us, and he came through clutch for us there.
And finally, a night without rain on Saturday too. We were in another kind of marathon day a couple nights ago as well on Friday. Ended up playing 16 innings combined. It was supposed to be scheduled for 2 7s, so 14 games. I got to imagine, what's the bullpen like on a day when we're here for nearly 7 hours? When you think about, the time in between the games, we had an hour rain delay. What's the atmosphere like in the bullpen? You guys are trying to stay focused, be ready to come in, but I mean, you're out there for nearly 7 hours straight, essentially. What's that like out there?
Well, we knew at that point, after the rain came, we had to go in the clubhouse for a little while, that the bullpen was going to have to do its part and pull a little bit of the team's weight, because obviously after 30, 45 minutes or so, we knew Cody wasn't going to be able to go back out there. So at that point, we all kind of locked it in a little more, knowing, we're going to be up as soon as we get back out there. And we went through, kind of looked over the scouting report again, made sure we knew what we're getting into, and went out ready to pitch just like any other day.
I know you guys in the bullpen too. When you're out there, I think Hobie, you told me before when you guys play the game password. Any other new games that have come into the mix for guys hanging out in the bullpen?
We have a game where I don't know what we even call it. We basically just pass it on.
Oh,
And we all sit next to each other, and whoever's on the end, we'll start. It's usually some form of physical contact, so it might be like that, and then he'll pass it to the next guy, or like I'll pull his ear, or whatever. And we're basically just losing our minds down there. We got like a little SpongeBob backpack of snacks, and we basically crushed the whole bag.
Well, and speaking of the SpongeBob snacks, we have a game we play mainly at home just because, home field advantage, but we'll take a cup, fill it about halfway with dirt, and we'll put it halfway between the wall at Shoeless Joe's Hill and the foul line, and we'll tell kids, hey, you get a quarter and you throw it into that cup, we will give you a ball that is signed by the bullpen. And so far, we have given away 2 baseballs in 4 days, and we made upwards of $88 in quarters.
So that's really been fueling our snack sugar cravings.
Okay, so that fills the SpongeBob bag, and the cycle continues.
And for any kids who are interested, we do make change. If you need quarters, we do have them. We take 1s, 5s, 10s, 20s, and we do take personalized checks as well.
All right, and last question for you guys. Thursday, we have an off day here. I mean, pitchers, this isn't always necessarily your guys' favorite place to come with the Hitters Park, but Asheville's a great city. We got an off day coming up. What does a RiverDogs pitcher do on an off day? For the rare ones that we have this season.
Well, I know that this off day coming up, we're going to go hit some links, probably play a soft 9 on the golf course, and then go catch some rays and get our bronze on and try to get pitted on the beach there. But sharks in the water, can't call it. We'll see.
Well, you take Thursday for example. Obviously being on the road, we don't have as much of means of transportation as we like. Obviously, we can call Uber if we want to, but I was just back in the hotel. I just realized that Criminal Minds season 11 was on Netflix, and you can bet that I got my fix of Netflix in that night. I had to make sure that those murders were solved the right way, and got it done. We enjoyed it.
All right, fantastic. So thanks again for joining me here on this edition of RiverDogs Road Report. Hobie Harris, Sean Carley. RiverDogs are wrapping up the series in Asheville. Off day, a rare one on Monday, and then they'll be back in town for a week at the Joe once again. So this is the RiverDogs Road Report. You're tuned in to RiverDogs.com.